Previously on Thriving Naija Medics.
But I do remember the main event that made me realize that, okay, it's like being a doctor is a magical thing.
How old were you?
I was 9. Like, being a doctor is a magical thing to do. So my mom was pregnant. And then, you know, when you're a kid, you don't know the fine details of what happened. But we know that she was pregnant and then suddenly she collapsed. And of course, all of us were taken out alongside with her to the hospital. So we were in Ife then at the time. And then, of course, it's now I can say she was unconscious, but we just knew she was like a bit lifeless and all of that. And then we took her to the hospital. Nobody to stay with the kids at home, so all of us went to the hospital together. And I just knew that we were all scared that something was wrong with her. And then, you know, when you enter the hospital emergency and people are pushing someone on the trolley and running, so, you know, the doctors were doing all of that. And the next morning, because we were there overnight, they called us in to come and see her. And she was alive. And, you know, of course, she still looked tired, but she was alive. So, of course, it was a relief for a 9-year-old girl. But what really stuck in my mind that day really was that thing that those doctors did when they were pushing her in. And to my 9-year-old self, I used to see them as, I saw them in that moment as like you know, the Superman with their capes, like all of them were looking so, you know, the white clothes flying thing. And I remember that for me, I think that was a memory that stuck in my brain, that they were like superheroes that were wearing white capes.
And they saved your mom.
And so I saw them as people that give people back their mom. So to my mind,
do you think that doctors, just because they are doctors, should be the managers of the hospitals?
So I have two answers to that. I think yes. And I think I say yes for one thing. Like I told you, medicine is very hierarchical. You know, we all know that. So based on the years that you've done the work, you know how to lead doctors, you can be the leader. But because we have also not segregated that there's the business part of medicine. Because in big hospitals too, you can have a clinical medical director and you can have the hospital director that is not a medical person.
Because honestly,
sorry, however, if a doctor wants to assume that role,
you must be a manager.
You can hone your skill in that field and combine it with your clinical knowledge.
He must be the kind of person who has the qualifications to manage. Because not all doctors can manage at all.
Absolutely.
Many doctors, you're trained not to manage.
Yes.
You're trained to treat.
Yes.
Many doctors are very poor managers. And I mean, absolutely poor. They can't even manage their own lives.
Violence.
I'm serious. There are people that even they know that generally in terms of organization, in terms of planning, in terms of leading, just because you're a doctor doesn't make you a leader.
Yes.
But to run a hospital properly, you can run a hospital to the ground though.
Oh, yes.
But to run a hospital and make it thrive, you have to have those innate skills or earned skills that makes you a manager of people and a manager of a business.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I don't think we're seeing it. Many times it's a political thing that, okay, you just go in. And the consequence of that is, I think what we're seeing now is many hospitals that have been run down by people who really cannot run the hospitals.
So again, I agree with most of that. But you know, we've talked about, before we went on this session, we talked about things that are government owned. And teaching hospitals, government hospitals are government owned.
Yeah.
Where, you know that saying, Ogata Ogauta. The mismanagement of healthcare system often is not the top only. It's across all cadre.
Yeah.
And if you see, it's not peculiar to medical sector. It's a multi-sectoral thing. If you go to other sectors that are also government owned,
Any
ministry, any government parastatal. And you know, that's why a lot of people have been clamoring for decentralization of power.
Yes.
Which is that until you have someone you can hold accountable, the government will all be blamed and nobody bears government. So in terms of leadership, you will see that in certain times when a trial has been given to maybe private-public partnership, you see that wing is always more maintained because there's somebody's name on the desk. There's somebody that you're holding.
Is an owner.
Is takes ownership of the role. So I don't even think it's a qualification thing alone. I think it's just the times. The model we're using is no longer sustainable.
It has not been sustainable for a long time.
Yes, it's no longer sustainable because even if you have one single leader that comes in, ethical leader, has all the paper qualification, has all the prerequisite skill. If does that leader have the power to hire, fire? Would that leader be micromanaging each department? You know how many departments we have under every teaching hospital?
Yeah.
So my own thought has always been that model, the model in itself is flawed.
Yes.
So I feel like it's the kind of system that you come into it, and instead of being able to effectively change the system, it's that you accept the system as it were, or the system itself will literally spit you out.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because you will see that we've had big parastatals where we have larger than life personalities. When during their tenure they did amazing jobs, but when they're once they're out, everything goes back.
Yes.
It's a system problem. It's not to say that our managers or our bosses or our leaders can't do better, but it's almost like climbing an uphill battle. And we in the private sector, we also know this. So it's like an uphill battle, like an uphill battle. It's very, very difficult because it is going to the very core value of most people is that are people really willing to answer? And I don't mean at the top, even at the bottom.
Even within your subunit of your subunit.
Are people willing to answer?
Yes. Are you ready to take account? And are you ready to give account and take ownership of whatever it is that you are in charge of?
Yeah. So all of that together is working together to give us this system.
So things need to change.
Things just need to change. So I feel like it's not it's like if you're dressing a wound with the foreign body inside.
Or an infection within the bone.
Then you have to we need to rearrange. We need to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, do we need to scatter the concept of this teaching hospital model? Do we need to have single unit hospitals? Do we need to do this?
How far of a public-private partnership do we need to actually get this thing working?
Yes.
And get people motivated enough to see that, my interest will be protected while I'm serving my people.
Punitive measures, like what is the cost? What is the reward for doing this? What is the punishment for not doing this? All of that have to, and somebody has to sit down.
And just like you said, are people ready?
Are people? So there was the lady that put something online that said that, do you know what a work in Nigeria would be like? And she gave like 10 instances.
And are you ready?
And are you ready for Nigeria to work? So it's not a single subspecialty, specialty thing. It's more of a systemic thing. It's like a broken system. And then you're just fixing one part or two. The whole system has to be rebuilt.
Yes. Oh, okay. I like how we entered that part early because it always advocates for residents. I know. It pains my heart because this is the residency that we went through. This is the residency that you went through. It's not been up to 10 years since we finished.
Yes.
And already it has nosedived to the point that I'll say it has crashed totally. And unfortunately, if we don't fix it, give it another 10 years, we are the ones that will be crying for it. Because this is a system that built us. We've talked about even from primary school, secondary school, university, postgrad. This is a system that we ought to also be giving back to so that it gets better and better and better. Naturally, some people will gravitate out of the country. It's natural. Which is okay. I mean, it's not for everybody. But there are people that actually desire to do their residency here.
Yes.
But the situation, the circumstances, the environment just cannot allow them to do it. Because while you want to do residency, you want to live a life that at least you should be able to drive a car. If you have children, you should be able to send them to decent schools. Even if you're not going abroad for holidays, I mean, at least be able to afford the basic stuff of life. And it's not that way right now. If you don't have support from family, you're very unlikely to be able to have any comfort whatsoever. Not to talk of when you're living in cosmopolitan states like Lagos, where things are expensive, accommodation is through the roof. Ideally, if you have a residency program, you should have accommodation for all your residents. You should at least be able to house them. You should at least, even within the system, there are schools, there are crèches, there are places. They should be at least decent enough for your children to be able to go to. These are basic things. You can't take a fish out of water and say it's not swimming. You cannot take little basic amenities out of a doctor's life and say they are not performing well. Because they are human beings.
Yes.
And they deserve the basic decency. So it is just the way it should be. And the only way you can attract people is to say, oh, at least you will have your basic decency. I don't see any other way. Not everybody has the funds to go abroad. It's not cheap either to do all the exams that they do, to travel. It's a lot of money. So at least if they know that they have something here too, that they know, because the fact of the matter is that if you do residency here, and I always say it is basic. When I say basic, all the things that you will learn, yes, they are a specialty. Yes, you are doing your specialty training, but you've not scratched the surface. For that specialty that you've entered, you still need to go abroad. Mm-hmm. You still need to go and learn what we talk about, the real technology, to be able to bring that back if you want to. But if you do residency, it's such that the skills that will be refined, that you will gain, the knowledge, it is still a huge gap from when you haven't done the residency. Absolutely. So if it is that you have access to, at least have access to it with joy, do the job and be happy to do it. You shouldn't be there just, I don't have a choice and you're cursing the system. Mm-hmm. So things need to change.
Things need to change.
Yes.
But then again, you said something which takes us back to housing. You know doctors. That even for housing doctors within the facility. How many because I know we have more residents now than they had 20, 30 years ago or even 50 years ago.
It depends on the department, I would say.
I mean overall. Mm-hmm. So if you look at most of the apartments that doctors stay in, it's the same one that was built when the hospital was built a few years after. Mm-hmm. That was probably planned with the number of residents they had at the time.
Should that be the case?
No, so I'm not telling you again that. So again, going back to the infrastructure of it, did we get to a point? Because remember that this is a country where, I don't know what the current data is. Our health budget used to be 4 to 5% of the whole budget. I hope you know.
It's still supposed to be.
That was what it was, 4 to 5%. And meaning that they're even pegged as and the money that's available for infrastructure. Have we sat down at a point and said, okay, we used to have 5,000 residents. Now we have 10,000. What are the infrastructure we need to keep 10,000 doctors housed? So this is why I'm also saying that the changes that we need to do, if it was possible, it's just that it's not possible. We need healthcare workers. We should shut down the health system briefly and go and do when they say analysis and reassess and rearrange. So that, of course, that's more.
You don't even need to shut it down. You can see the problems.
No.
And
built to suit. I'm saying built to suit. It's a tailor-made thing. So all this, and then remember that at the end of this bit, remember that we work as a team. If you probably ask every other specialty in medicine, pharmacy, if you ask nurses, physio, CSSD, everybody, just the same everything has crashed. Theirs have also crashed. Yes. So even if we advocate to improve the life of residents, if the lives of every other single person of the ecosystem is not improved, then all they have to do is, oh, good, you've promoted the doctors, you've increased their money. They will also down tools. And there's no way doctors can work without them. Yes. So that's why I'm saying that it's almost like a shakedown that we all need to have. There is no doubt that what is existing now is almost unacceptable. Sometimes when you, and then, I feel like even our citizens don't understand, when a doctor is saying, oh, they are doing this, then, people say, oh, minimum wage is such amount of money. You are earning 300, you are earning 400. Why are you complaining? What about those of us that are living on a lesser amount of money? But I will tell you that you really need to be in it to get it. That's all I can. When you see, sometimes you don't even, doctors really get public sympathy. I remember when I was in residency, you could really find a doctor that didn't have a bag that had gloves, medications, bought from their own money.
Yes.
Because when you see patients,
You have to.
You have to.
do
If not, you
these
can't
things.
work
And
bare hands.
if it's not available, you still want to
If
work.
water, you do all of that. So what we have now, that's why I say it is simply unacceptable.
Yes.
And as we evolve as leaders as well and as practitioners, is there must be avenues for those that are not even working there to be able to bring their 2 cents into how things can be better, because it's not a sole. Like I said, I've moved away from blaming government, because I said government is made up of people. We are government,
Yes.
like people that are working
yes.
there. And I can't go to Luton and say government.
Yes.
Whose office is government? Nobody. But individuals, what are we doing? What is this? What are we coming up with? You know, and we talked about it where I said that until health is seen as a business, it may be a subsidized business, it may be a funded business.
But it's still a business.
Until it's seen,
health is the business of healthcare.
If they don't see it as a business, then all this surrounding crisis will keep recurring. Because the only part that people are focused on is the end, which is the service provision. But 5 billion things happened to get that doctor, that nurse to attend to you. And if those 5 billion things are not corrected for, it will affect their service provision to you.
All time.
Every day, every time, exactly. So it's looking at the back end and rearranging the back end, as far as I'm concerned. And even this residency that is terrible like this, do you even also know that getting into it, despite this collapsing system, exams, so many bottlenecks everywhere?
I think they've even stopped requesting for primaries before entering.
Okay.
So you then do the primaries when you go in. Yes, I think even in Luth, they've stopped just to encourage people. And I think they've stopped, and then when they get in, they'll do their primaries and all that. But I mean, even if you have that opportunity, the fact is that what are you going to? Yeah. What are the working conditions? Okay, so we went through residency, you came out. At what point did you know that I'm not going back to a teaching hospital to work? At what point did you know that I want to set up my own practice?
Okay, so because of my own lived experience, I've always sort of known that I had the options of 2 pathways, right? Post-residency. So, and I do intend to go back to teaching hospital, but I intend to go back as
teacher?
I intend to go back not as a clinician. If I had a magic wand, I would like to go back as someone that teaches medical entrepreneurship, not as an OBGYN. We have excellent OBGYN, that's not a problem. But I would like to go back as someone that teaches medical entrepreneurship. So in fact, most of my friends thought I was going to work in the big NGOs, international, because I've always done community work. I run my own NGO from when I was in residency, the one that focuses on sexual and reproductive health. So I was kind of already
in that
doing a lot of work. I do some temporary stints with some form of consultancy here and there. So that was also available to me. However, when I went into residency, I had 2 young kids. And when I came out of residency, they were already double digits. So, and I thought to myself, in fact, when I first finished because immediately I finished my residency, in fact, before I was done, my master's in the US was already on the roll. I finished and then I went to the US. So.
You went physically?
Yes, physically. Okay. Oh, yes. I was there for over a year. Okay. And then I realized when I finished that, okay, these kids were very small when I went to residency. Now they're getting older.
Yes.
And you know how I feel like I've always been busy. Like I've always been busy. It's fine. Like all my life, medical school, everything, I've been busy. And then I had this moment of reflection. I'm like, when these kids are done with high school, they're going to chart their own course. So I will say for someone like me, my role as a mother played a critical role in directing me on what I wanted to do. In fact, when I first came back, I didn't do anything. In fact, when they asked me, I said I'm making pancakes and doing school runs. Like I did that for a while. I just wanted to be more present as a mother, because I had been on the move a lot of my for many years. So that sort of influenced how I went about it. Secondly was I also thought about it that I've been very particular about what do I want to bring back if I'm coming into this system. Like I said, we have excellent gynecologists, excellent obstetricians, excellent.
But there were gaps that you had seen.
So for me, that was not I'm not innovating in that space.
Right.
What I wanted to show, in fact, I used to tell my friends that, we can do this gynae thing. Even my senior colleagues, I used to joke about it, that that if we finish this residency, and 10 of us, if we just come together and open one hospital, like, we'll be like the biggest O&G center in the States.
Yes.
Like, when they know that 10 gynae,
Yes.
10 obs are running a facility. We laughed about it and all of that. But I know it was nice. I was like, well, I come from a long line of entrepreneurs. So things like that always used to look like, you can do it now.
Doable.
That kind of thing. So by 2023, after I finished my 1 year of full-time mommy, of chilling, of mommy, I was into all the things they were doing. I remember having a conversation with the men in my life, my husband, my father, and even my pastor. Because at the point I'm sure I was like, is this going on? Is this the full-time way? Is this it? And then they were like, I was like, I like to have time. I'm enjoying watching them grow. I'm more present. For any mother that's gone through residency, we all know that time we're not present. And then they were like, okay, how can you combine this? And before then, I was always active on social media, by the way. So a lot of people used to DM me, and I used to consult virtually, even at all times.
Yeah.
Like, I post online, on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. So I had like a small community, and I was already providing service anyway through it. So I now said, the one thing that I know in O&G that is very peculiar is calls. And, a woman can fall into labor. In fact, women like falling into labor at night, by the way. And then I was like, what can I do in this gynae space that is essential on up space, but that I get to go home every day, that I still get to pick my kids? Like, literally, that was the thought process. That was the defining, like, how can I show up as a doctor and still show up as a mother and as a wife, as in show up in all the ways I can? Because it can be funny. Medicine does take your youth.
Oh, yes.
From medical school to residency.
Oh, yes.
Before you know it, you've burnt 15 years.
Yes.
So your energy has to be used with sense, literally.
Yes.
So, and I thought to myself, what are the things that people have always asked of me, in terms of services and all of that. So, and then we kind of came up with the idea that, okay, let's see what a women's clinic would be like. And of course, as a woman myself, I've also experienced care, and I know the things I've identified that I wish I received as a female patient. And that was how, in fact, we used to laugh that if we gave ourselves a 2-year plan, that if this doesn't work in 2 years, we're going to convert the facility to Airbnb or short let or something like that. So, like, let's test run a women's clinic, all staff by females, and see how that will work. And I always laugh that the first day we opened, we had our first client. And they were like, interesting. What happened? Small, we just started building around that. And then of course, the market kept giving us back what it needed. How you learn to remove this, put this, there's more of this. So literally, that was how Up Women's Clinic came. How do you provide services that meet the needs of women, comfortable, like not
necessarily as an inpatient service.
No, not as an inpatient.
As an outpatient service, there are many services that women need.
Exactly. And of course, now we're in year 3, we know that inpatient is inevitable. but how it will come, I don't know. When it will come, I don't know. Because but for now, we're still maintaining our clinic model.
All right.
We and our virtual services. We're serving patients in, I think, 13 countries.
Oh, wow.
And we also have patients in multiple states in the country. So some come in, some will do virtual.
So what are the scheme or the extent of things that you do?
Yes.
What will be the range like?
We go from consultations to
on
any female-related issue.
anything.
Think about it. And we, like I always tell people, that we're a women's clinic.
Yes.
It doesn't mean we're a gynae clinic. So we
Yes.
even manage women that don't have gynae issues. Because one of the things we do is something we call the system navigation services. So if you're looking for where women can be taken care of, come
That's
to
it.
us. So it could be rheumatology, it could be your cardiologist, it could be whatever it is.
So even
coming.
if it's not obs and gynae,
It's not ups and gynae. So it's just a woman-centered center, because the whole idea is when you come in as a woman, you feel comfortable enough to just relax, let your hair down. You're comfortable with the staff. You're comfortable with the fact that they can relate to your experiences as a woman. And then because we're also woman-centered, even our service model delivery in terms of customer experience is very female-centric. Ambience, tone, all of that. Empathy is very big on our ethos and how we deliver services. So it's not just obs and gynae. And so the range is wide. Vaccination, family planning, and even day cases that doesn't require admission. When we need all those that require admission, we have multiple partner hospitals.
Yes.
We'll still manage you there. Our team still comes to see you there.
Right.
But we'll still shut our door
At night.
at night.
Yeah, that's a type of freedom that I believe many doctors deserve.
Up next on Thriving Naija Medics.
So I really like that, this was the setup, even though you may still end up going there. But for now, this has been, and how would you say the impact has been so far? What is one of the, maybe give me one very fascinating, experience that one of your patients or your experience you've had with a patient?